What is Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black Got 3 long face, skinny body. We are back, still black with some more fire Boruto anime manga content. Now, before we get in the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, share the video with your friends, and join the Discord. The link will be in the comment section below. But let's hop into the business, SHIBAI.
9 mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. 1 chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
Okay, now that the code arc is officially underway in the anime, it's safe to start taking things into a much broader perspective. Essentially, the same thing happened years ago when the Kawaki arc and the Kara arc was going down in the anime. We started to see more foreshadowing for things that happened already occurred in the manga or that were already explained to possibly occur. We started to see foreshadowing for things such as Code having a Karma Seal, Code being the strongest member in the Kara organization. Started to see small implements of how, a model would be defecting, or all of these little nitpicks and things that the anime basically adds on. So now that we have the Code arc officially airing, episode 287 being the first episode of the arc, we get to see some of the things being reanimated versus episode 219 and episode 287, essentially speaking about the conversation between Ishiki and Code. Now this, I didn't really want to delve too much into this topic for the mere fact to avoid any anime only spoilers for those of y'all who watch the anime only. That's why my review about episode 287 was strictly focused on the anime. But now that we've seen the anime episode and we already had the chapter come out, let's look at the things that probably point towards some of the things we're dealing with right now currently. After the introduction of SHIBAI OTSUTSUKI, we understand that there is actually an OTSUTSUKI god that's out there somewhere. Even though his body isn't physically wherever the ninja world is considered to be, his body is somewhere out there. His soul, somewhere, life, essence, consciousness is definitely active. So you don't introduce something without definitely implementing it in some way, shape, or form inside of the story at some point in time. You guys believe that Code will be the next SHIBAI OTSUTSUKI. The way Code has been built up in that first episode of the arc, it leads me to believe that, essentially the hype that was already initially around the character at the very start, it should have never died down. Code had the perfect path, now me referring to the manga, in terms of building up a big bad villain, giving you a reason of why you should care about his endeavors, and giving the villain himself motives. Code isn't the same typical villain that we've been getting, even though he's my dog, even including Momoshiki. Yeah, even though he's my dog, like the same shit, coming to make a chocolate fruit, coming to do this. Now essentially Code's whole thing is centered around Ishiki's basic directions to him is to become this peerless and unique god, and he's going around telling him devour all of these planets and devour all of life on all of these planets and eat the chocolate fruit for all life and update yourself and continue doing that planet after planet after planet, starting with this planet feeding Boruto or Kawaki. Now Code in the manga, we know that he has centered all of his ideals and goals around Kawaki, how they will affect Kawaki in the most negative way possible, trying to take everything away from that man, currently building up a 10-tailed army of 1,000+ soldiers and counting. Not only that, but infusing them with his own chakra. Need I mention, this is an unlimited power Code. So his chakra and power sources, despite the fact that he got washed by Damon graciously, which did a detrimental decline in his fan base and support, right? Despite that, it's still like a limitless Code with all of this chakra being embedded into these 10-tailed soldiers. So it's a whole lot of things to take into that in terms of, all right, well, how strong are these things, or how effective would this actually be, this move that Code is not only planning but making subtly but very surely. Now Code isn't attacking the Hidden Leaf right now for obvious reasons. He got folded by Damon and Ada can see everything that he's doing, so there's no point in going somewhere just to lose a battle. In terms of Damon can definitely no diff him. In terms of taking him out the picture, more feasible, more possible. But then you add in Kawaki and Boruto possibly fighting together with Damon with the support of Ada. Code is dumb, but he's smart enough to know that that is a very bad idea and will very much well work against this man. So now building up this entire army, why would he need that? When you think about it, it's like the only thing that's stopping you is Ada and Damon, right? Essentially Kawaki can be a threat, even fighting with Boruto together possibly can be a threat, but this is limitless Code we're talking about. Let's not forget, just because he got bodied by Damon, that this is a limitless Code, right? We see how Code fared up against Kawaki when he first unlocked his Karma Seal. Kawaki didn't know Diff Code, but he was really fighting heavily bloodlusted and extremely eager to end that man Code's life right there. But was he able to do so? No, he was not. Damon, on the other hand, forced Code to retreat off rip. Soon as the battle started, Code knew what was up. Like, yeah, I have to get out of here. There's no way, shape, or about it. And this is a much more powered up Code than the one that fought a bloodlusted Kawaki with this new powers that's supposed the strongest person in the Hidden Leaf currently, that fought that bloodlusted Kawaki and still managed to make it out the battle more than I could say unscathed and alive, because even after that battle he had to fight Damon as well. So all things into consideration, Code really wouldn't have his hands full taking Damon and Ada out the picture. But now that we see the anime, now that we see the build up around Code, now that we actually see the fluidity in his fighting movements and the demeanor that the character will be taking on screen, it is not so far-fetched to say that essentially the whole idea of SHIBAI OTSUTSUKI being introduced by Amato, the whole thing of SHIBAI's consciousness, do I believe that would be a whole separate thing in its own, possibly even seeing an actual SHIBAI appearance? Yes, definitely, I won't rule that out, but, you know, becoming the next something, right? Amato already made it a point, and Code brought it to everyone's attention, similar to Shikamaru, similar to Momoshiki, and even Naruto. He is turning Kawaki into Ishiki number 2. You know, Code, the one who said it too, one of the first persons to point it out. He's basically making a second Ishiki, right? So the idea of, you know, becoming something or becoming even better or surpassing that legacy inside of this story itself isn't so far-fetched to believe that Code possibly become the next SHIBAI OTSUTSUKI, or the next peerless and unique god that we see in the Boruto story, in terms of Ishiki being very close to reach that, but not necessarily being able to actually get to that apex or get to that level that he was longing for throughout his entire life, now leaving all of his desires and his entire will onto Code, who is completely devoted to the way this man lived. So now, do I really believe that Code can become this unique god or become the next OTSUTSUKI god, or rather, should I say, become an OTSUTSUKI himself? I do believe Code is going to become an OTSUTSUKI, because right now, his non-vessel karma, his non-vessel white karma gives him this pure power of Ushiki, gives him all of the experience and knowledge of the OTSUTSUKI who embedded the karma on him, as we know that Code has explained once he enters into that true essence form. So Code has all of these things at his disposal, but we've yet to forget this man is not OTSUTSUKI. He's just a super freakishly powered up cyborg with a karma seal that works as a weapon. So his body isn't OTSUTSUKified. If you want to include the fact that he has Shinjutsu in his body, then we can take that into consideration. But mere fact so that Code is a cyborg in its own, all of this just adds up to why Code will become the next OTSUTSUKI god. So just looking at it just on the surface right here, right, it'll be a bad idea to make out his plan, to act out the first stage of his plans, I should rather say, on planet Earth. And essentially on top of that, there's a whole lot of things going down. So just from a writer's perspective, the major climactic moments going down with Kawaki and the village right now is going to ricochet into the entire 5 great nations. Essentially, Code can be taken out of the picture and the story can be its own little thing just with that subplot right there. Throwing Code into the middle will add chaos. If done right, can be a beautiful story, but holding off on adding Code can also be very, very beautiful and very effective for the story ultimately now and in the long run, because the fans will be able to keep up to date and see what Code is doing, while the other characters around are so focused on another major issue, but still keeping Code, you know, on that second priority list in terms of who is he targeting, or how can we be able to pinpoint Code? We need to target this 10-tailed soldier army and figure a way to take all of that shit down while simultaneously dealing with the threat of Kawaki, who has now officially become rogue. Code can go to different planets, can go to different universes, go to different galaxies and things of that nature, and start to act out his whole entire plan of becoming OTSUTSUKI, and then ultimately coming back to Earth, understanding that Ishiki's DNA, Kage's DNA, Momoshiki's DNA, Kenshiki, you feel me, Urashiki, even though niggas don't rock with that man. And then we got Boruto, Kawaki, everybody's DNA, Sasuke, Naruto, Hagoromo. Code is going to eat this child chakra food and update himself to become one of the most OP Otsutsuki guys we have yet to see. The mere fact that this man was blessed of being as strong as he is, right? And then blessed of being, modified to just become weaker, but also still having the true Otsutsuki God's Shinjutsu ability as well embedded inside of him. All of these signs are pointing to the mere fact that Code definitely might end up being that guy. And his introduction in the anime, not necessarily introduction, but his fighting style, his demeanor in terms of being on the battlefield was much more better laid out in the anime versus the manga, where the hype was there, it died very quickly and left very quickly. Versus in the anime, once we see these fights go down and Code take the L's that we know he is about to take versus Boruto and versus Kawaki and even versus Damon, it's still going to be much more of a positive impact on the character in the anime versus the manga, and how I see it. And just for the mere fact of the storyboard and layout for the first episode of this arc, it just automatically brought my mind to the fact that, dang, this guy Code actually might become the Otsutsuki guy. Let me know your thoughts below. How do y'all feel about the first episode of the Code arc and essentially how Code is being portrayed currently in the anime versus how he was already portrayed in the manga and currently being portrayed in the manga? Right now, this current manga Code, I would say his demeanor is matching up the anime right now, how they are presenting Code versus, in the near future when he starts to encounter Boruto, encounter Kawaki, that's when the major decline in support for this character starts to dwindle, and we start to see that being presented to us. People are talking about this man is useless, that he's getting written out of the story, or how is the Code arc named after you and you just getting body. Some people saying it's not the Code assault arc, it's the assault on Code arc and shit. Like, it's just so many things going down. But when you look at it right here, the way that the anime has started this off, I feel like it's really about to be Code World's No Blanket. You feel me? So holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Let me know how y'all feel. Black chat out. Yes, sir. Ski.
Hey, can we take a trip to the sky? Show them that our limit's too high.
Cocoa butter hips on the west side. She said